to the Engaging African Realities podcast. Please join us as we engage scholars and practitioners in conversations about their experiences from the field and beyond. We hope to bring more awareness about the cutting-edge work going into bolstering the field of grounded African theology and opening new possibilities and frontiers of knowledge.
Good afternoon and welcome to this month's EAR podcast. And we would like to start by welcoming Professor Musa Dube. And welcome, Professor Dube. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here today. And thank you for finding the time to speak to us. And my name is Nnebundo Obi. I am currently the research associate at the Nagel Institute. And so now that we've gotten the formalities out of the way, I'd like us to start. So could you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me on this podcast.
Of course.
My name is Musa Dube. I am a native of Botswana. I'm born in Botswana and raised there. I'm currently academically based here in Georgia, Atlanta, in School of Theology. Academically, I am a New Testament scholar. I was trained in New Testament scholar. As a New Testament scholar, I'm a biblical scholar. And I'm currently teaching biblical studies here in School of Theology. I'm also the coordinator of the Circle of Concerned African Women Theologians, which is an association of about 800 academic women who are involved in research, but who are also actively involved in the communities as other members of worshiping communities or as leaders in one way or another. I'm currently also the president of Society of Biblical Literature. Yes.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Could you talk a little bit more about your previous involvement with the Nagel Institute?
Yes. In 2016, we were amongst the applicants that were granted research money. I was still based in Botswana by that time. So we had submitted a proposal to do a research on how Ubuntu is expressed in the urban space using the case study of bridal showers, baby showers, Naomi and Laban showers. So we were focusing on women events, on how women organize these events in order to support one another. And in it, we wanted to interrogate how their commitment to organizing these bridal showers, baby showers, Naomi showers and Laban showers for one another, to interrogate if it is a form of expressing Ubuntu within the urban space, and also to investigate how it is a form of building community within the urban space, especially because in the urban space, people tend to come from, all sorts of places. They come from different villages. They don't have immediate, social connection or roots that brings them together. They meet from very different ethnic groups, very different regions, and villages. So how do people build community? So we wanted to find out how community is built, how Ubuntu is still expressed within the city. So the bridal showers and the baby showers are actually the case study in which we're using. But we also wanted to find out that how is gender constructed in these events? How is it constructed? How is it reconstructed? How is it maintained? How is it, reconstructed? Especially that they are largely women events, events that women organize for one another. Yes. So we were lucky to be granted, I think at the beginning was it 35,000. Then later on, we also encouraged to apply for a further, 4,000. So we ended up with something like 40,000 US dollars to do that research, which we carried up in Gaborone, the capital city of Botswana. Yeah.
So you mentioned that your Nagel research was focused primarily on the concept of Ubuntu and women building community in urban areas. And I recently learned that you just published a new book connected to that topic. Could you talk a little bit more about the whole writing process and condensing all that research and turning it into a book?
Yes. Yes, we were interrogating how the concept of Ubuntu is carried on within the city. Mm-hmm. So, and our definition of Ubuntu was taken primarily from the Vision 2016 of Botswana, where they said Ubuntu is the capacity to welcome the other and the capacity to empower the other.
Yes.
And the capacity not to rest until you know that the other one is empowered. So according to Ubuntu, which means to that philosophy of Ubuntu, which sometimes is explained that I am because we are, yes. And sometimes is also explained with the saying, umuntu ngabantu, a person is only a person or human through the other. Yeah. So in this definition, how do we measure your humanity? How do you know you are human? Your humanity is only measured by your capacity to care for the other, by your capacity to welcome the other, by the capacity to empower the other. So your humanity is measured, by your capacity to welcome someone outside yourself. So then we wanted to see. So in that case, it means that the construction of one's identity within the philosophy of Ubuntu is based on community, on welcoming the other who is not yourself, who is not necessarily your friend or your relative, and creating, so we can talk about what is welcoming, what is respecting, what is empowering. So in any case, we wanted to find out how are these women now in the urban space where they come from different places, expressing Ubuntu, how are they building community, how they are caring for the other. In fact, let me say, we were also motivated to interrogate these case studies because it was just around 2018 when we had that massive recession. And we noticed that there was more escalation for bridal showers, baby showers, and Naomi showers. And so we said, oh, it's like in this very critical economic time, there was this move of, empowering the other, in this, is there a woman giving birth? We're going to do a baby shower. And people are just like, we're doing this baby shower. Can you contribute? Is there a woman starting a home? We're going to do a bridal shower. Is there a mother-in-law or father-in-law receiving a new daughter-in-law or bridal shower? We're going to do a Naomi shower for them. So we said, oh, this is so interesting because it was like it was even increasing in that context. Yeah. So we started we won the money to do this. So we carried out, we did the data. We attended, I think, if I recall now, up to about 40 or 30 something events, to listen, to record, and then to interview and to observe what is going on. And then we collected a lot of data because it was actually 3 different types of showers. So there was what we call Naomi shower, which is actually a new shower that was created by elder women who said, we often assume that the in-laws know how to welcome their daughters-in-law or their son-in-laws, but in fact, sometimes they don't know, and sometimes they become a problem. So they created a Naomi shower based on the book of Ruth, in the relationship of Ruth and Naomi as a model of a mother-in-law who, lives with a daughter-in-law peacefully or in a good relationship. So it's designed to train the in-laws themselves. How do you welcome this girl who is not a member of your family, who comes from somewhere? How do you make her comfortable instead of seeing her as an enemy or a competitor? And then, of course, the bridal showers, we know more about them. There was also something called Laban, which was maybe, Laban was really created for men, for fathers-in-law, also based on the story of Laban and Jacob trying to find a wife and how his father-in-law exploited him. So now it's a way of trying to teach how should father-in-laws welcome, their sons-in-laws and their daughters-in-laws, So anyway, we collected a lot of data. We attended about, 34 events, and we were recording, we were interviewing, we were observing, so we had a lot of data. So thereafter, we got into the process of, analyzing the data, to develop papers. And we developed a lot of papers. I think it was a big group. We were about 10 at the beginning. And then I think 3 fell off because 2 had to go to school. 1 lost their husband, and so at the end, we were 7, and then we lost 1 more who left the job. And then we ended up being 6. So, we published papers out of that in journals. First, we did the first round, and then we did the second round. What we said is that let each person, draft, particular aspect of the data, and then others come in with the method, critique or put in the theory. Others come with language, So, but each one of us would draft a paper, and then the others will have an input, on the analysis. We had different skills within the group. There were people who were really skilled in qualitative methods, in data collection methods. There are people who are very skilled in theories, analysis, gender, humanist, whatever, intersectionality. And then there are people who are skilled also in just language, So we said each one of us will have an input on every paper. So after we had published a number of papers, we realized that on the overall, the topic of Ubuntu was really high there. It's like everyone is talking about Ubuntu, So, and we thought this is a good opportunity, Why don't we collect some of our papers, that we had already published, and put it into a book, because they were all scattered in very different, journals. So we selected some of the papers and put them together into a book, which just got published under Ubuntu and Women, community building in the urban space. Yes.
So with that in mind, you're talking about papers, you're talking about collaboration. I was curious if you could tell us a little bit about the role of women in world Christianity as you plan for the Sankofa 2024 conference in Ghana.
Yes, thank you for bringing that one. And let me say, whoever's listening, we are inviting you to come to the Sankofa 2024 conference that we are planning in Ghana. It's going to take place in July, 1st of July to the 4th in Ghana, Accra. It's going to take place in Trinity Theological College, the place where the circle was first launched in 1989. The idea was to return back to the place of birth of the circle. Hence the title Sankofa 2024. This will be almost like 35 years since the circle was launched. So we are returning back, to the soil. We are taking a pilgrimage back to the place of birth, to reconnect ourselves, to rededicate ourselves, but also to look back, what has been achieved, what has been our strength, what are the gaps, how should we go forward? And we are hoping that both our matriarchs, our founding members, our rising stars, our very new ones will all come. And those who cannot come, we're hoping that they'll still submit papers and they will give the papers online. We are planning this time something slightly differently in terms of publications, because the last circle conference, which was held 5 years ago, was held in Gaborone, and we published all papers from there. I think there were about 80 papers. We published them primarily in books, but we also had just 2 special issues. But now we want to shift away from books and to publish almost everything, especially qualitative papers, into refereed journals, because it's clear that in many institutions now, when people come up for promotion, what is valued most is not books. It is papers that are published in highly prestigious journals that are listed in Scopus, for example. So we want to really, we have already set up about 8 or 9 editors according to different themes: biblical studies, theology, SDGs, GBV, French-speaking papers, SDGs, I've said that one, I think, and then ATR, ethics and philosophy. So people are submitting the papers to these particular areas where they have interest. And then each editor is working with around 4 people to review the papers, to find the journal, and to start preparing the papers for publication in a good journal, a refereed journal, which is will be recognized when it comes to their promotion. Because some of our institutions now, if you have a book or if you have a chapter, you get very low marks for promotion. Yeah.
So thank you very much for your response. I had one last question before this interview comes to an end. If you have some wisdom to share with our research grantees, both past and present, based off of your experience with the Nagel Institute and beyond, if you...
Yeah, I would say that collaborative research is a powerful and empowering thing to do in the scholarship. You get to work with other scholars, as we said, who have very different skills and who also have different methods and theories. You get to be empowered. As we say, one tree doesn't make a forest. If they say that if you want to walk fast, you can walk alone, but if you want to go far, let's walk together, let's pull together. So there is something very powerful that we need to learn. I can say that all the young people that I was working with in my group, the amount of papers that we produced right now means that they are more eligible. Those who are lecturers can become senior lecturers with the amount of work we produce. Those who were already senior lecturers can apply for associate. Those who are associate can become, professors. So it's empowering to work together. I'm not saying it doesn't have challenges. There's a lot of challenges because, you meet very different personalities and you have to manage the group, so, but I would encourage that we work together, even if there is, challenges. The second thing is that a lot of us still need to learn co-authoring, Both for our institutions and individually, the production of knowledge is much better and more powerful if we do co-authoring than just writing on our own. So the production of knowledge in Africa right now is rated to be very, very low. So, and I would encourage, people to take, the production of knowledge as our vocation, to put the voices of Africa in the global academic space, the voices of research, Africa research up there, our findings up there, I think we should all be committed to say by the time I finish my career, I want to have made a difference in my area. Third, I want to say, when Nagel is concerned and the John Templeton Foundation, being a scholar also, it is very prestigious and good for your CV, not only to do research, but to also to do funded research that empowers your profile, that when you are assessed, we can tell you have been in a funded research. So yes, I encourage young people, to join these groups, and to have their eyes on the ball, namely that we want to be part of the funded foundation. We want to produce the knowledge. And also, once we have gathered the data, there's a lot of it. It's a bank, further than, the period that, your founder may have given you 2 years, and after 2 years, maybe they said if you produce 2 or 3 papers, it's okay. But it's a bank, go back and write many papers out of it. And this is what we have been doing since 2016. That's why we have just published a book, because we're just going back there and using the data. And we still have a lot of data. We can still produce something new out of that data. I would encourage people to utilize that data, to go back, to analyze it from different perspectives, from different methods, for different issues and other issues that came that they were not necessarily looking for.
Thank you. On that note, I'd like to thank you very much, Professor Dube, for taking the time to talk to us. And wow, this has been very interesting. I'm learning a lot.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
And on behalf of Nagel Institute, I'm so delighted and thankful for finding time to speak to us and, to learn how far the grant went into, just very deep production of knowledge. And we look forward to continue to collaborating with you and seeing you in Sankofa.
Yes, ma'am.